This is Electric Universe Eyes, and today I'm going to narrate The Great Comet Venus by David Talbott, 1997, section titled Feathered Serpent. In our brief list of comet glyphs cited earlier, we have also listed the cosmic serpent or dragon, and in Mexico this fascinating theme proves to be crucial. Once the researcher has learned that Mesoamerican stargazers considered a comet to be the ascending heart soul of a great chief, he can no longer ignore the full range of related symbols. The planet Venus, the rising heart soul of Quetzalcoatl, is not just portrayed as an ember-like star, equaling comet, not just depicted as a star with quetzal tail, equaling comet, but is said to have taken the form of a great cosmic serpent, equaling comet both in Mexico and in the universal language of comets. The name Quetzalcoatl itself is simply a combination of two Nahuatl terms that for the quetzal bird, known for its long, brilliant turquoise tail, and the serpent, or coatl. Thus, 2 of our listed 5 most common comet glyphs are brought together in the name of the god, and the combined hieroglyphs clearly have a long history. The earliest known version of the plumed serpent predates the Aztecs by many centuries, appearing on monuments of the formative Olmecs. Conceptually, the avian serpent reached significantly beyond Aztec culture. The Maya name for the same god, Kukulkan, carries an equivalent meaning, as does the quiche figure Gukumats. The same figure appears to have entered Zuni ritual as the plumed serpent Kolowasi, and Hopi ritual as the plumed serpent Palulukong. Though the figure of Quetzalcoatl is complex and appears to combine originally distinct traditions, the identification of the spiraling serpent itself, the transformed heart-soul with Venus, has survived even into modern times. Some of the Tzotzil groups, for example, still describe Venus as the big serpent, Muktachaon. Among the Chichimeque tribes, Venus is still remembered as the serpent cloud. It is significant, then, that Aztec manuscripts depict a comet as a fiery serpent or dragon-like creature descending from the stars. The priest astronomers knew the comet as the star serpent. In his exploration of comet symbolism, Peter Lancaster Brown observed that the natives of Mexico represented comets by the plumed serpent depicted in various forms. But what does this say about the acknowledged identification of the plumed serpent with the planet Venus, the ascending heart soul of Quetzalcoatl? It seems very likely that the white and bearded god who appeared in the east associated with the Quetzalcoatl serpent god, legends of pre-Columbian Middle America, relates to the apparitions of spectacular comets in the morning sky and not to the planet Venus, Brown writes. Here again we see an author attempting to rationalize a clearly stated Venus-comet connection, offering his own explanation. But in this instance, the explanation involves nothing less than a rewriting of the Aztec religion, for the identity of the transformed heart soul of Quetzalcoatl as the planet Venus was an unshakable tenet of the myths and rites. With respect to the Mesoamerican celestial serpents and dragons, there is also the issue of the attached streamers that often look more like long flowing, spiraling locks of hair than like feathers. This unique feature is particularly significant since the disheveled mane of the celestial serpent dragon is a worldwide motif. And yet, remembering that pre-Columbian astronomy depicted the comet as both a celestial serpent and a main star, should it surprise us that the serpentine form of Venus possesses streamers suggestive of the flowing hair of countless celestial serpents and dragons in other lands? Since Venus was itself the main or long-haired star, the underlying integrity is undeniable. In fact, no stretch at all is needed to establish the equation of flowing mane and serpent dragon or chaos monster. The Aztec Zontemoque, identified with the planet Venus, and whose name Brasseur translated as mane, was depicted as a dragon-like monster approaching the Earth in periods of eclipse or universal darkness. As we will discover, every eclipse of the sun and the moon became a symbol or reminder of the primeval cometary disaster and the arrival of the world-ending night. A counterpart of this chaos or eclipse demon is the Aztec Tzitzimitl, with madly disheveled hair descending upon a darkened world. This is, of course, precisely the image of the raging comet in numerous other lands. A comet was supposed to be a tendril of the Great Mother's hair appearing in the sky, as the world was slowly overshadowed by her twilight shadow of doomsday, writes the noted student of world mythology, Barbara Walker. But the interconnected comet glyphs attached to the chaos monsters range far beyond these instances. A symbolic counterpart of this streaming hair is the enigmatic but frequently depicted beard of the Mesoamerican serpent dragon, the Aztec plumed serpent, the Mayan great bearded dragon, and numerous counterparts of these celestial monsters are distinguished by flowing beards that are every bit as preposterous on the face of it as their streaming manes. The reader will recall the celestial beard or bearded star in our short list of comet symbols as a logical extension of the long-haired star. Thus, the Greek Pagonius, the beard star, means comet. While a bearded serpent is a biological absurdity, the anomalous beard is immediately explained if the Venusian serpent is a long-haired star or comet. If the celestial beard did not mirror a comet-like form in the sky, then the bearded serpent is one more anomaly left unanswered, despite a consistent pattern that seems to cry out for recognition. To keep all of this in perspective, it needs to be remembered that Quetzalcoatl, whose heart soul became the plumed serpent, was himself the white and bearded god, with many counterparts spread across pre-Columbian America, one more anomaly to add to the equation. Thus, Frank Waters, surprised at the prevalence of this unusual figure among the dark-skinned natives of the New World, typified by Quetzalcoatl and the Incan Viracocha, assures us the myth was so common throughout all of pre-Columbian America that we can regard it as arising from a concept in the unconscious. A relationship with the planet Venus is clear, though not without wide-ranging interpretations by the specialists. According to Thompson, the Maya described Venus as being, quote, very ugly with a heavy beard, end quote. And the Aztecs preserved a similar tradition. Of Ejecatl, whom most authorities identify with Venus, it was said that his beard was exceedingly long. Lastly, on the matter of the flowing hair, mane, or beard of the celestial serpent or dragon, I should like to register an opinion on one additional oddity, that of the Mesoamerican feline dragon. Here, too, we are dealing with an image begging for a comparative study, since the outlandish merging of cat, lion, jaguar, tiger, or lynx with the celestial serpent seems to have occurred in all major cultures. Since noticing the oddity in Mesoamerica, I have noted as well the general disinterest of the specialists in accounting for such an incongruous monster. A cat and a serpent? Here, nature itself provides not a clue as to how anyone, much less skywatchers around the world, could think of the one when confronted with the other. But an analysis of this mythic creature can be advanced dramatically by the Velikovskian methodology. What one looks for is an underlying shared attribute, not of the terrestrial symbols, which offer no shared attribute, but of the celestial reference inspiring the symbols. And in this instance, there can be no doubt that this is the mane of the celestial feline figure and the twisting body or tail of the celestial serpent. While this is not the place to attempt a summary of evidence I shall present in future installments, I will simply mention the Egyptian instance of the goddess Tefnut. The eye equals heart soul of the former sun god Ra. The eye of Ra, on its departure, becomes the raging Uraeus serpent. But in the account of the goddess Tefnut as departing eye, the raging goddess, or serpent, is also depicted as a lion head with flaming, smoking mane. Of course, it is not one instance, but the repeated instances of such motifs that will make the case secure. I register the supposition now to prepare the way for a comparative test, beginning with our next installment.